Hey boys, welcome back to some more NRL Supercoach. It's going to be the round 5 preview, and it's actually turned into a fairly, somewhat exciting week, but also a different week because pretty much all the trades I was going to make, and I was I wasn't forced into making them, but a couple of them, it was sort of like, okay, I'm going to have to do it this week if I'm going to. And it was going to be a very boring week of trades and pretty much just getting 3 cheapies, which is good. It's good setup for the future. But with a couple of the team lists dropping, it's opened the door for a little bit of something different. So we'll go through, like I do, position by position and discuss what we're looking at doing in terms of the positions. Like I said, I've said it twice now, but dummy halves are set. I mean, I'm still happy with it. Part of me is a little bit. It's one of those things, right? If Levi scores 30 points, then I'm like, even though Coruscant, I knew Coruscant was going to come back to that. He's not going to score 80 plus every week, but if Levi didn't go fucking 65 plus, I would be like 100% certain. But part of me is a little bit like, did I really have to spend so much money in the dummy halves? But at the end of the day, I mean, they're over 600k now. They didn't start at that price, so they have gained money, and it is just good depth for the team. Looking at the future, we don't know. Like, I'm talking about New South Wales discussions here briefly. Obviously, it's a long road. Plenty of things can happen. And obviously new coaching, so there could be some very big differences, but in my opinion, Coruscant will definitely be the dummy half, and I feel like Cook and Coruscant he'll go with, but I would be upset if it's Coruscant and Robson. I'm hoping with that depth, it can cover me through the origin period, even though I think Coruscant is like basically a certainty at this point, unless injuries or whatever. But we'll see. That's a long way away. But the dummy halves, they are what they are. Obviously, we're happy to play both every week, unless there's, a terrible matchup against, probably Penrith is the only matchup you wouldn't play one of them, but that's looking pretty strong. Our front row forward, so, Terrell May, but he's a keeper really, unless the minutes just drop for some reason. Liam Henry is going to be an interesting watch this week. Obviously, Fisher Harris being back. I talked about it in the team list. I don't think it's going to impact Henry that much. He's probably not going to get. I'm sort of expecting he's got 50s basically last couple of weeks, which is fucking unreal. It's been so good, but I feel like those 50s will drop back down to like 40, which. It's still great. It's still absolutely fine. So it could go lower. If his minutes do dry up a bit more than that, then yeah, you could. We'll see. I still think he's going to be a very solid 2RF2, or if you've got like a better second front row forward, he can just be that third guy that can interchange with buys and whatnot and be very solid 40 points, but we'll see. It's going to be a watch to see the minutes with Fisher Harris coming back, but Fisher Harris and Leota, they are notorious for not playing massive minutes as it is right now. The odd time, if maybe the game's in the balance, Fisher Harris might play extra, but Leota sort of always plays the fewer minutes, I would say. Sam Hughes has got... He's elevated. He's in the starting position now. I don't know. Obviously, like I said, the plan was probably go Hughes to Willison. The fact that Willison is out with the head knock this week, and it's worked out. It's worked out nicely, although it could still be a dagger. Sam Hughes is starting, which. It does give you a little bit more confidence. He should play probably 20 minutes rather than 15. But is it going to be like... he's done this with that front rower other than Max King, just playing the first 20, maybe 25 minutes, and then that's it. They don't come back on. I feel like the bench... I feel like Hughes will have to come back on. I just don't... Liam Knight's on the bench. Is he really going to play 60 minutes straight? Or... I don't know. It'll be a watch as well, but I do think Hughes is probably going to more be like 35, maybe, hopefully 40 minutes. That would be lovely, but obviously it's worked out well. He's got the starting spot, and Willison is not playing this week, so I don't have to waste the trade going sort of sideways to a cheapie. I still think, when Willison comes back again, we can toss it up. If Sam Hughes does actually jag some more minutes, then I think he could become not Liam. I mean, similar points to Liam Henry, but a bit more, like, less base, but more upside. Like, he'll have an offload, a tackle bust, and, a try at times, but we'll see. That's best case scenario. And then Farmer Silly, again, he's not playing. It's fine. I don't care, and I'm glad he's not in. Even with all the injuries, I was very nervous that Farmer Silly was going to get named on the bench, but thankfully he has not been. So that is handy, I will say. That is very nice. The back row, Sean Lane, Kai Pearce-Paul, they're keepers, obviously. Well, for the time being, anyway. Fermor, the team. So, once again, Fafita is on the bench. Now, I wouldn't be shocked to see a late switch come game day and Fafita start and Cleese Haas goes back to the bench. But if it happens like last week, I'm assuming that Fermor is going to stay. Well, he'll start on the left for 2025, and then Fafita will come on and Fermor will switch, which is it is what it is. If Fermor can just jag, a little bit of attack in those opening 20-25 minutes while he's on the left, oh baby, that would be nice. But I'm not expecting it, but it would be nice. But as it is right now, I think Fermor is a hold for at least another week. His break-even's only 43. He might, I think 40 is his floor. Like, he's not... I know he only scored 39, but usually his base is better than that. So I think 43, he's not really going to lose too much more cash, if we're being honest. So it's not really a dire trade out. And obviously, again, the back row, it was going to be a very simple trade out to Joe Chan, but Joe Chan has not been named once again, which is... Again, it's good because I don't have to do the trade this week. Because it's not like I was going to play Joe Chan in my 17, so it would have been nice to free up cash and stuff. But, bringing in a cheapie, it's fine. And but I will be honest, I really hope Chan gets the spot back. I am a little nervous because, Blore, if he plays well, if Chan, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it was an infected hand or something. I don't really know what the injury really was, but I do want him to come back because I would love to get a cheapie in this the Tour F that can make good cash. It would be nice. But at the end of the day, like, if he doesn't come back, then I guess I save myself enough second row forward who's bottom dollar, which again is good as well. Like, he's sort of going to screw people over the went. Not early, but yeah, just not going to get any more price rise or any price rise, but we'll see. I do expect him to come back, but you never know. I don't. Again, he could be, the injury he had, it could be longer term. I'm not too sure. Tupanua, he's got to go. He's got to go. And before Team Bliss, obviously Tupanua was probably going to be safe because he only had 36 break even if he only got like 60 minutes again, he would probably hit that. Like, yeah, he probably would. And Fermor had a bit of a high break even and he was a bit more expensive. So it was going to be Fermor down to Chan, but obviously with Teamless, Tupanua is on the bench and Crichton is starting. So does that mean Tupanua is now going to play 20 minutes off the bench? He's going to start losing cash pretty quickly if that happens. So I think Tupanua's got to go. There's not a whole lot of guys. I mean, it would have been nice if I could have gone to Chan, I will be honest. But there is one guy in particular that I am probably leaning towards because, yeah, other than, well, I'll say Curran. Other than Curran, there's really not much else. But we'll have a look. Morgan Smithies, he's fine. I think he's going to stick around that 400k. and he'll be good cover for a time we need to upgrade or downgrade. And then again, Ben Trebojevic, like, it's a bad matchup this week, and obviously the minutes are getting a bit of concern, but he's a dual. He's 300k. It's fine. Honestly, it's fine. So before we head in, let's have a look. So Tupanua goes. I think, Tupanua's got to go. Like, he's on the bench. I mean, fuck, he could switch again, but it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare anyway. But yeah, he's got to go. So let's go to highest price. So obviously for Fifita, he'll get pretty cheap. Well, not pretty cheap. I'm sure he'll bust out a couple of tries in the next couple of weeks and stay pretty expensive. But you're probably not I mean, if you got the start, maybe you could have taken a punt and gone for Fifita early to get ahead of the pack. But obviously, it's pretty late into the season, and then Origin will be coming up in the soon future. Jermaine Hopgood, he's still, man, he actually made money. That's crazy. I really thought Hopgood at like 740. I thought that was going to be his peak. Like, surely he's not going to get the same minutes this year, but he's averaged 74 and he's gone up in price. Unbelievable. Isaiah Yeo, a guy that actually 8% of people started, which I feel like no one ever starts Isaiah Yeo, but he's like just so solid. He's averaging 75. Paddy Carrigan without Payne Haas, he'd be a great little pickup, but yeah, again, too expensive. Ola Kawatu, I mean, he actually has lost money. He was at his absolute peak, and he's had a couple of big games, but a couple like 50s thrown in there as well. Moving down, I mean, Eli Katoa is a guy he's probably high on the list for like these premium second row forwards, just because I feel like the Storm are looking really good. Katoa is dangerous every time he touches the ball. I think he's at a pretty good price. He hasn't started amazing. Like, he's got a 73 break even. He could easily hit that, but he hasn't gone crazy. Like 60, 50. Like, and he'll just be such good play over like the Origin period, I feel like. So Eli Katoa, out of like the premium guys, I'm really looking for in the next few weeks, I would assume. Going down the list, I mean, obviously I can't afford. Well, I got 560k in the bank, I guess. So keep going down. I mean, Victor Radley, he's actually been okay. He's averaged like 61. Ruben Cotter, dual, no, definitely not really interested. All these guys around the 50 mark. Yeah, not too. Viliami Kickout, he had a couple of okay games, but again, he just I don't know, averaging 50. I mean, I was sort of... Well, I guess the funny thing about Kickout, out of most of the mid-range 2RFs, he was probably one of the best ones to go. He was definitely better than... I mean, Smithies was a bit cheaper, but Thermore, Tupanua, Wong, even Lane to an extent. Kickout has actually been pretty okay compared to those guys. Then we have Josh Curran. So Curran, yeah, you're not getting him at his like cheapest, which is fine. He's only gone up 85k. He's had a couple of big scores in there. I think he started well, didn't he? He had a 76 and then like 50s. I mean, he's very, very safe. But I mean, the thing I'm excited with Curran is that now he's playing in the back row. He should be playing like... He might not play 80 minutes, but he's got to be up there. Like, he's got to be up to nearing the full allotment of time, I would assume. And the word is that I mean, I can't confirm it or anything, but the word is pretty strong that he is going to get the dual tour front row forward status, which, I mean, would just be... It would be beautiful. So if you bring Curran in, for one, he's a really good play in the Tour F, and then next week when the dual statuses get fixed or updated, if he gets front row forward, oh baby. I mean, I probably wouldn't have to do it straight away, but at some point, Curran and Terrell May, I mean, honestly, those guys could see you till like ending season like pretty comfortably. You're not going to get like, well, I don't know. I mean, Curran and they're both like decently high upside players at their peak, so it would be nice. So I'm definitely leaning towards Curran. if we look down, there's just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jack Bird, been okay, I guess. There's not really anyone else I'm that interested in. I guess Murata Niokore, he's actually starting on the edge, but he's a little bit too expensive. If he was coming in a cheaper price, and I guess I don't think Kurt Capel's out for too long, so yeah, you wouldn't take the punt there. Anyone else of note? Not really. I mean, the other guy I was going to mention, Tom Eisenhuth, like, he's 431k, dual center wing to RF. I mean, that's pretty handy as well. He's averaging 55. He's playing big minutes, getting great base. Like, I wouldn't be going Eisenhuth. Like, if you're going to get him, you would pick him up in your center wing. And honestly, it's probably still not a terrible pickup. Like, he's actually looking pretty good. And obviously, Flanagan likes him a lot. And I do think, yeah, he's a perfect sort of guy for that team. Like, he did a job for the Storm, and now he's got that experience, he's got that ability. He's not the most flashy guy ever, but he's just scoring solid. So, I mean, you could do worse in centre wing, but I'm probably not looking at it. Then we move down. Angus Crichton is the guy that I'm definitely not picking up this week. He's scored, like, he's obviously played very few minutes. His price will, like, he's got a 75 break even. He's starting on the edge. He only played a few minutes either game. I mean, he could hit that break even of 75. If he scores a try, he probably will. But yeah, he's definitely a guy to look for in the coming weeks, I would say. Like, but I don't know. That's why it's a good watch this week. Like, is he going to just do, like, surely Robinson is not going to fucking do the exact same thing he was doing every other week, but just switching the players. Like, surely he's not going to do that. Is he really going to play Crichton for 60 minutes, 50, 55, 60 minutes, and then bring Tupanua on for the rest of the game? Like, surely fucking not, right? But it'll be a good watch this week. If he is playing like 80 minutes, honestly, lock and load Crichton. It'll be, again, the job security won't be amazing, but fuck, I'd probably rather him than Fermor anyway. So we'll see. Hopefully he plays big minutes, doesn't score that well, drops a bit of cash, and can be a very good pickup in a couple of weeks. But we'll see. No one else really. Yeah, no one cheaper really tickles the fancy. So I think it's Curran. You know what? I'm just gonna do Curran because I got to get rid of Tupanua. He will drop cash. Like, I can see him playing like 20 minutes and fewer this week. Like, why would he go back to the bench and still play big minutes? He's not going to. So he's got to go. And honestly, the only guy I'm interested. I mean, you could go Kikau. No, I don't think you do. Kikau just... I'd just rather Curran. I mean, even Kikau, like, he had... 44, 39. He had a barnstorm against the Titans. Only scored 82, and that was the Titans. Then 48. Yeah, I think Curran's he's just a safer play, but he also has decent upside, especially playing on the edge. And if he gets the dual status, it's beautiful. So, I think that's the number one trade. I think. Like, I think that's a lock and load. I've got too many Bulldogs forwards, but I mean, thankfully, one of them's not playing, and we only really had two, I guess, with Curran and Hughes. So, obviously, Hines on a bye, so we do have to switch with Brooks. So, it's not the best matchup for old Luke Brooks. He is playing the Penny Panthers. It's still without Cleary, so hopefully Brooks can just jag an attacking stat. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I could understand people selling Brooks, but I think I'm just going to hold him. I know he's going to start losing cash, but I feel like Manly will get on a bit of a run again. Like, they just will. They've got attack in them. I think last week was just a bit of an anomaly. Like, obviously against the best teams, Manly will still struggle because they're not at that level. Excuse me. But I still think they can put some big points on like lower teams. The Dragons they did a very good job. And I mean, I don't know, it's just, I was going to say a different Dragons team, but then the week before, the Dragons got belted by the goddamn Dolphins. So, I don't know. The start of the season is just so up and down with, like, form lines of like, potentially weaker teams and stronger teams. Like, it's a bit all over the shop. So, I'm happy to hold Brooks. It's fine. Yeah, he's going to lose cash, but it's fine. He's a play this week. It won't be great. Unless he jags something, which he could do. He could do. He is one of those guys that can produce a little bit of something. If he can just score like 40 points. And I mean, like he scored 29. He had like fucking 10 missed tackles. So that score, like he would have been like 40 points. And I guess if he didn't miss the tackles and made the tackles, what's that, like a 20-point swing. So obviously, he is a guy that does get bumped off a bit, so you can't expect him not to miss any tackles. But yeah, 29 points. He usually has pretty good base. He just, they had a bit of a shocker, so that's fine. The 5'8", so Galvin, unfortunately, oh, dude, what timing, bro. Like, they take on the Dolphins. Galvin would have been such a huge play this week, I feel like. But that's fine. We just take Galvin out for Ethan Strange. The Raiders, they take on Parramatta. It's a pretty good matchup for Strange, honestly, because Parramatta, flimsy defensively, especially on the edges. Hopefully Strange is up against Talangi. He'll be on... What side is Strange on? Strange will probably be on... He'll probably be on Brown's side, won't he? Is he on the right-hand side? I can't remember what side Strange is on, but it's fine, regardless. I mean, we got to play him, and I think he'll do a fine job. Hopefully, he just gets decent base again. I mean, he's done pretty well. And then our centre wing, so Holmes, Young. I mean, I know Young is. I know. I was thinking. Young played Penrith last week. That's right. I was like, he's come up against Penrith. No, he versed them last week. He's up against the Dolphins this week, which, I mean, on paper before was a good match. No, he's fucking, you idiot. He's taking on the Bulldogs. Apparently, it's going to be torrential weather, which, oh man, I don't know. Apparently, a lot of these games in Sydney are going to be very heavy weather, so I don't know. Maybe temper your expectations a little bit with some of these attacking players, but I mean, obviously, playing him, it's still a good matchup. Taylor May, I'm very happy to play still up against Manly. And then, obviously, we're switching Tui for Bostock. I mean, Bostock against the Tigers again. It's do you play Bostock? I mean, we'll look at Sid Stars in a second. Obviously, Tuapiki, he's not back. Obviously, Chance is back, so Tuapiki's got to go. Gagai does have to go as well, but I do think Tuapiki... I mean, I was tempted slightly to... I keep Tuapiki and trade Gagai to Talangi, because I feel like Tuapiki is obviously closer to a recall than Gagai. I mean, Gagai just seems to be behind literally every backline play for the Rabbitohs. I don't understand it. Whereas Tuapiki, if Chance goes down, Tuapiki is straight back in and he could start making money again. Like, obviously that might not happen. Chance could come back and he could play the rest of the year unscathed, but I was somewhat considering holding Tuapiki and trading Gagai for Talangi, but I think the money, I think the 100 or so K from the trade is probably more worth it. It probably is. So that's what I'm probably just gonna do it. This is honestly one of these decisions that could be a bit of a swing. Like if you do hold Tuapiki, and I mean Chance isn't the most reliable like player. If he does go down, Tuapiki's straight back in, bro. Like it's very tempting, but I do have to look at the future because I do need to get Nathan Cleary back after their bye if he's fully fit. So I got to try and make that happen, and I do need the cash. So it's honestly tough. It's honestly a tough one because I mean Tuapiki, he's still got his break even's 10. Like, he'll make pretty good cash and he'll be a decent scorer if something ends up happening, but it might not. You'd hope not. At the moment, I'm going to do Tuapiki. I'm very, very, very heavily considering holding Tuapiki. But obviously, you do need to bring in Blaze Talangi. He is a lock as a cheapie. I mean, I'm not sold on his, like, I guess, job security. If Eels have a couple of bad games coming up, then Dejan Arce is definitely there in the wings, but you got to bring him in. He's going to make a good bit of cash. He frees up 120 there. I could see myself reversing that and going Gagai out, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll have a closer look at sort of the cash I'll need to bring Cleary back in after the bye. I guess you don't have to do it straight away, but yeah, we'll see. So I've used 2 trades. I mean, they were sort of the givens. Now, originally I was going to be using a boost because I was probably going to bring in Willison for Hughes. Now, the question, the big question here now is Tommy Trbojevic. I am so tempted to trade him out to either Ryan Papenhuyzen or Clint Gutherson. So, because if you look at Trbojevic, he still hasn't lost that much cash. So it's not even like he hasn't lost like 150 or so. Like, he's only lost 56. It's not that bad. His break-even greens is only 89. Like, they take on Penrith. But then they got Gold Coast. I actually thought they had a bye coming up closer too. So they have Penrith. Oh, they got Penrith, New Zealand, Gold Coast, Parramatta, Canberra, Dolphins, Bronx, Storm, and then Origin. So the reason I'm heavily considering this is because obviously Trbojevic is going to play Origin. I mean, personally, I feel like he should opt out of Origin just because of how many times he gets injured. Not during Origin, but just when's the last time he's finished the season for Manly? Like, they need him, and I feel like he should opt out, but I don't think he will, and he will definitely be selected. So I do think he's a trade out over Origin, and like there's a couple of juicy guys to bring in. So let's just have a look here at the fullbacks. Tedesco is actually the most expensive fullback. I mean, it does help getting like 140. He only got 47 this week, but Dylan Edwards 120. Ruben Garrick, Ponga, Mitchell, Scotty Drinkwater. He's 825k. Fido. So yeah, Clint Gutherson and Ryan Papenhuyzen, actually similar price. So you do get a little bit of cash. You get like 70 odd K to go one of these guys. It's not a whole lot, but so Gutherson, he's at a decent, like, he started so expensive too. He started over 800k, which is insane for Gutho, and you just knew he wasn't going to hit those highs early on. But there's always a time for Gutherson, and it's usually over the bye period because the Eels just generally cover them really well. Because if we look here, 5, 6, 7, 8, they have a bye in round 9, which is a little annoying, but it's not the biggest deal. But then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So they cover the first bye and the backup game. They miss 16, but then they cover 17, 18, 19. And then you probably, if you brought him in, you'd play him for that Gold Coast game, and then you'd trade him out in round 20 when, you probably look to bring back one of the other fullbacks. Obviously, that's a long time away, but like, it's a good draw. They got Canberra, Cowboys, Dolphins, Manly, Bronx, Storm, Rabbits. It's pretty good, and obviously the big thing here is no Mitch Moses. It's it's just a fact. Without Mitch Moses, Gutherson does so much more. Like, his points are incredible without Mitch Moses. He obviously is goal kicking now, but he's just so on the ball. Like, he's taking over the kicking duties. Like, he's doing literally everything possible, and it's great for Supercoach. So I am very, very keen on Gutho. He did great work for me last year. Obviously, I got him a little bit later than this, but it was still fantastic. And then Ryan Papenhuyzen, he's gone up 45k, which is fine. But he's still pretty cheap at 700. He obviously had, 30 against Penrith, round 1 of the season. Yeah, you'd expect that. And then 132 against the Warriors, 78 against Newcastle. He's looking really good. Like, he's looking strong. He's looking fast. Melbourne are getting their troops back. Cameron Munster has been named. I am so keen. Like, they take on the Broncos this week, but again, it's an understrength Broncos. I feel, and I know that the Storm notoriously play their best footy against my Broncos, and Ryan Papenhuyzen has torn us to shreds many a time. So it's not. This is a terrible game for me as a Broncos fan, but Ryan Papenhuyzen will potentially do well. Then they got the Dogs, Roosters, Rabbits, Gold Coast, Sharks, Parramatta, Manly. He doesn't cover the first major bye, but again, I wouldn't expect him to play Origin. I know I said this in another video, and someone, they put in the comments, are you sure about that? And fair enough. Like, I said it before that it's new coaching and they could go a bit ad lib and throw some guys in. But I feel like Pappy, he's a little bit, I think he's, everyone knows he's a sensational player, but he's probably a little bit behind the pecking order at the moment, just with the injuries, and also, they're not going to... they could drop Tedesco, but if they did, surely they'd go with a Dylan Edwards or even a Tommy if he's fit. But I don't think they're going to drop Tedesco. He's actually been okay this year as well. And they're not going to pick, Pappy on the bench. That would be a little bit insane. So I think him and Gutho are both going to be great over the Origin period. And then, yeah, they cover the backup. 15, 16, 17, 18. He doesn't cover 19 as well, which is a little bit annoying, but again, it's a long way away. So, I am very torn, because then the other part of me is like, do you really, I talked about this in previous videos, that, I don't want to keep doing sort of sideways trades. You want to start saving trades to an extent, but also not wasting trades going from one guy to the other. Obviously, there is a little bit of strategy involved with going one gun to another if their run's really good and stuff. So there is that point, but I guess the clincher with that is like I said before, Tommy is, in my opinion, he is a trade over the Origin period, because I feel like Tom, he'll struggle more to back up than other players. Obviously, a Val Holmes can back up unbelievably. He did some great stuff for me last year. I feel like Tom, not so much. I don't know. Maybe he might not get a rest for Manly, but I feel like he's not going to be at his absolute best backing up. I could be totally wrong on that, but I do think he is a trade over Origin. So if you're going to trade him over Origin anyway, do you just get in one of these guys that have a really good run coming up, and just maybe a little bit safer? I don't know. I'm so torn on it. And then I'm fucking torn on either Gutho or Pappy. Honestly, originally I was thinking, if Munster is back, if Munster is named, he's obviously named, but if Munster by game day he's still good to go, then I was like, I'll go Papenhuyzen. If Munster is ruled out late or something, then I'm definitely not going to go Papenhuyzen. I still think he can score well, and he has, but I would just be a little bit less keen to go Pappy if Munster isn't back, I guess, is the point. And I'd probably lean Gutherson. Again, mean, looking like, yeah, just taking on Penrith, New Zealand, but then Gold Coast. Oh, dude, a Gold Coast game. Oh my god, it's so scary. Oh god, it's so scary. They play Gold Coast in round 7. Holy shit, it could be 100. It could be 100 points. Oh, well, when does Gutherson play Gold Coast? He doesn't play Gold Coast. Well, he hasn't played them yet. He only plays them in round 19. And then Pappy, he plays them earlier. Yeah, he plays them round 8. So, I mean, I don't want to go just solely on going against Gold Coast, but it is a bit of a good matchup if we're being honest. Yeah, I think I do actually think that is a bit of a factor, though. I think because Pappy does play them earlier, I do think his draw's a little bit better too. He doesn't play round 13, which again is a little bit annoying, but I'd probably lean Pappenhausen at this stage, just because I'm loving the way he's looking really good. He's looking sharp. And that's the other thing with Tommy. Like, I don't know if it's just fatigue or what, but last week, in the second half especially, he was looking laboured. Like, he was not looking very good out there. Obviously, in terms of actual play, but also just his movement. Like, it just wasn't looking very, very sharp, very quick. So, is it worth using a boost? If you're going to do it, you're doing it this week because they take on Penrith, so it's just not a good matchup. And then I guess the other factor is if I bring in Pappenhausen, he is a great vice-captaincy option as well. So before I make my decision there, let's have a look at sit starts and then captaincy, vice-captaincy options for it. So, obviously, Robson and Coruscant, they're playing. Terrell May, Liam Henry, yes. Our back row, Pierce Paul, yes. Curran will come in for Fermor. I think it's just a safer play. Yeah, not playing Fermor, Smithies, Trbojevic. I think that's fine. I mean, I'm still happy with the depth of the team. I think that's pretty damn solid. I mean, we might have to play one of these guys. I'm not too sure. Luke Brooks starting. Obviously, Hines won't have reserve. Ethan Strange. Holmes, Young, Tuvashek, Taylor May, Trbojevic, and Ponga. So, Coruscant, Ponga, yes. And then, obviously got to take it off Hines. Okay, so he might... do you play... I do think... probably Bostock. I mean, is he really going to score another try? Like, he's probably due for a low score. But they do take on the Tigers. Like, I know the Tigers have been a lot better, but they are still the Tigers. Like, and they're missing Galvin, which is, I mean, he's a pretty big loss for them. So I think Bostock. I mean, you could play Talangi as well. Honestly, they take on Canberra. He's looked pretty good. A very attacking 5'8". And then we have obviously we got the. I wouldn't be playing Benny Trbojevic, obviously. And then it's out of Smithies and Fermor. I mean, I'd probably go Fermor. Like, surely Fermor can get something. Like, he's due. I gotta play Fermor. Like, he's still playing 80 minutes. He's just not getting any quality football. So, I guess I'm praying for a bit of attack. I mean, Smithies is just gonna score... Smithies is going to score basically Fermor, but he just doesn't have any upside. But Fermor potentially has upside. So I think I'm happy with that. Coruscant, Fermor, Bostock, and Ponga. I mean, you could go Bostock and... I mean, you could... I think I like Fermor. It's just out of now Bostock or Talangi. And I think I like Bostock, but... I mean, the Raiders' defense hasn't been great either. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what weather conditions are as well. I mean, the Dolphins are playing at Suncorp, so I'd expect a nice flat track there. So that's probably good for them. At Canberra, 6 o'clock at night. Probably Bostock is a little bit more appealing, but we'll see. We'll see. So that looks pretty good. I mean, a 17 without Hines, without Galvin. it's still pretty strong. I got to be honest. I'm pretty happy with it overall. We're not playing too many duds in the team. And then captaincy, vice captaincy. So this is a big one. We'll definitely have a chance to loop, especially because we got Hines. This actually works out pretty well. Fuck again. Oh my god, dude. Oh my word. I know I haven't had to use it once, but one of the main reasons I had the 3 cheapy front row forwards here was because I was going to get like a free loop most weeks, right? Because I was like, okay, if I have to drop Liam Henry's gone and got like 50-50 every week, so he's been a godsend. But like in my head at the time, I was like, okay, Liam Henry might get 35. If I drop him, it's fine. But the Bulldogs have been playing early every single week, it feels like. Or Penrith. Penrith or Bulldogs have been playing like in the first game. So I'm never able to loop one of these absolute duds. But again, it's probably worked out great because Liam Henry's been killing it. But yeah, I'm a little bit like, this week it probably could work out well because Liam Henry might not get the minutes, but it's fine. I mean, that's the thing though. Hines is on the bye, so if we have to drop Brooks against Penrith, that wouldn't be the worst. And then if we're looking at our like lowest score, it's probably out of probably Sam Hughes. It's probably Sam Hughes, or it could be Brooks, or it could be Ben Trbojevic. So yeah, we could get a bit of a free crack at the loop. So who have we got? Obviously our vice captaincy has to be before Manly if we're going to obviously drop Brooks, or I guess we could drop Ethan Strange, also not the worst. That's later. So Melbourne Bronx, obviously I don't have anyone at the moment, but if I had Pappy, he would be a very, very, very solid vice captaincy. Bulldogs Roosters, I mean, Dom Young is very appealing as a vice captaincy. Although, again, it seems like it's going to be very terrible weather there, so it might not be great. But then you got Newcastle Dragons. You have to. Newcastle. I know Dragons were good last week, and they killed my Trbojevic, but are they really going to do it again against Ponga? I feel like if you got Ponga against the Dragons, you have to vice captain him or captain him, but I'd probably lean towards vice captain, because I don't really have anyone else. And that means if I went Papenhuyzen, then I couldn't go vice captaincy on him anyway. Although, would you rather vice captain Pappy or Ponga? Probably Ponga. I mean, the Broncos still can be pretty good defensively when they show up. So yeah, Ponga. I think at the moment, let's just do this: Ponga, vice captain, and then, I mean, he's got it on him at the moment. Val Holmes up against the Gold Coast Titans. I do think that is the best captaincy this week. Or if you have Scott Drinkwater, I think that's also very, very good, very juicy. Obviously Manly against Penrith, that's a bit of a dud game. South v Warriors, if you had Sean Johnson in your halves, I mean, yeah, he would be a decent vice captain, I think. But yeah, I think Cowboy players, Drinkwater and Holmes, basically the main two, and then Ponga or Papenhuyzen. But then it comes down, do I use another boost? Again, I've only used the one boost. Do I use the boost to go Trbojevic to Papenhuyzen? I mean, or Gutherson. They're both tempting. I don't know. I mean, where else could I... Again, let's have a quick squiz. What else are we looking to do? Obviously, we're still sort of waiting to see if Joe Chan comes into the side. So we're not really looking to get rid of one of these guys yet anyway. We're sort of hoping Chan comes back, so we can downgrade either Fermor, Smithies, or Ben Trbojevic, I guess, at a pinch. That would be nice in a couple of weeks. We do, like, I am going to want to bring back Nathan Cleary. He'll be back in round 7, probably. I mean, that's what they're aiming for. So we'll get next week. Wait, how many weeks do we get? So it's the start of round 5. Then it'll be start. So we'll get 2. We'll get 2 more trade weeks to get in Cleary, which shouldn't be a massive issue. I know he's still expensive, but I mean, honestly, I was sort of thinking, like, if we just trade Brooks to Cleary, I know he will probably have lost cash by that point, but we could do that and just run the Ethan Strange, Lockie Yelvin combo for a good chunk. Or, like I said previously, it's not the most efficient use of a trade, but if Dom Young comes out and stinks it up for the next couple of weeks, honestly, I could just swing Strange back to centre wing, Dom Young, Luke Brook, like swing it all around and trade Dom Young basically back to Cleary in round 7 if Dom Young is looking like he's going to start losing cash again. We could do that. It's again, it's not the most ideal use of a trade, but I do think Cleary is going to be important to bring back. So I'm very torn. Trbojevic, he's just, but that Gold Coast Titans game, it's a nerve-wracking one. It's definitely a nerve-wracking one. But that's the thing. If we bring in Pappenhausen, he'll get to take on the Titans in a couple of weeks as well. So I'm somewhat leaning towards getting in Pappenhausen. I just feel like the Storm are gonna start, like, they've had a bye, they're getting some troops back. I feel like the Storm were already looking pretty good, and I feel like they're about to really turn it on. But I'm not sure. At the moment, I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna ponder it. And we'll decide what we're gonna do. But it's a tough choice. I'm definitely not sold on either. Like, I don't think using another boost is bad by any means. I've only used the one, but yeah, we do want to start saving trades as well. And like I said, I do think Tommy's a trade out over Origin anyway, so you're going to be using that trade anyway. It's just making it earlier. So I don't know. I'll have to think about it, but other than that, we're pretty much done. Not much else to really discuss. Hopefully, guys. Actually, the one thing I did want to look at, even though I'm probably not going to be trading a dummy half, but I was actually keen to see what was Brayley's price, because I know Brayley is starting again for the Knights. I don't know if he's actually lost that much cash. Oh, he hasn't lost any yet because he's only played the 2 games. He's obviously, he's got a 61 break even. It's annoying. If he could have had a couple more games like off the bench, he would have been like almost bottom dollar, but oh well, it is what it is. I'm probably not looking to get in a dummy half anyway. I've got two pretty solid playable options. So yeah, hopefully we have a strong week. Hopefully you guys watching have a strong week and we can start moving up the ranks a bit quicker. It would be nice if we could just nail a captaincy. That would be beautiful as well. And obviously keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on late outs and and I'll just have to decide what we're gonna do with Tommy. I'm torn, but other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.